January 13, 1982, Washington, D.C. is in the grip of a brutal winter storm. A thick blanket of snow covers the city, and the temperature is well below freezing. At Washington National Airport, now Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport, flights are grounded, delayed, or cancelled. Yet, amidst the chaos, one flight, Air Florida Flight 90, is preparing for takeoff. Its destination is Fort Lauderdale, Florida, sunny escape from the frigid capital. But this Boeing 737 would never reach the warmth of the Florida sun. Instead, it would become the center of one of the most dramatic and heart-wrenching air disasters in American history. A story not just of technical failure and human error, but also of incredible heroism and selfless sacrifice. The storm had dumped 7 inches of snow on the airport, causing significant operational challenges. The airport was even closed for a period, reopening just after noon. Flight 90 had already been delayed for nearly 2 hours. The passengers, 74 in all, including 3 infants, were eager to get going. The crew, led by Captain Larry Wheaton and First Officer Roger Pettit, was feeling the pressure. The core problem began with the dicing process. While the plane was diced, it was done inefficiently. The crew used a mixture that was not at the correct concentration, and because of further delays and the continuous snowfall, ice and snow began to accumulate on the wings again before they even left the gate. Compounding this, the pilots made a critical decision not to turn on the engine's own anti-ice system. They were concerned it could provide inaccurate thrust readings on the ground. A known issue with the 737's older engines, they also had a false sense of security, believing the dicing fluid would be sufficient. Another fatal error occurred during the pre-flight checks. The pilots knew that snow and ice on the engine's pressure probes could lead to falsely high engine power readings. This meant the cockpit gauges would show the engines were producing more thrust than they actually were. Despite their awareness, they failed to properly clear the probes or activate the engine anti-ice systems, which would have kept them clear. As they taxied toward the runway, they found themselves stuck behind a long line of other aircraft. During this time, more snow and ice accumulated. First Officer Pettit repeatedly pointed out that the ice buildup didn't seem right. The cockpit voice recorder captured his concerns. He mentioned the readings didn't seem right, but Captain Wheaton, perhaps feeling the pressure of the long delay, dismissed these concerns and decided to proceed with takeoff. At 3:59 p.m., Flight 90 was cleared for takeoff. As the plane roared down the runway, the faulty engine readings became a deadly trap. The pilots, believing they had set takeoff power, were actually operating with significantly less thrust. The ice-covered wings were not generating enough lift. The aircraft struggled to get airborne. The stick shaker, a device designed to warn pilots of an impending stall, activated almost immediately. The cockpit voice recording captures the final, chilling moments. Pettit shouting, "Larry, we're going down." Larry Wheaton simply replied, "I know it." Just 30 seconds after lifting off, the plane had barely climbed to 350 feet. It stalled, then began to descend rapidly. It clipped the 14th Street Bridge, one of the main arteries connecting Virginia to Washington, D.C., during rush-hour traffic. The plane's tail section smashed into 6 cars and a truck on the bridge, killing 4 motorists and injuring several others. Then, the crippled aircraft plunged into the frozen, ice-choked waters of the Potomac River. The impact was devastating. The fuselage broke apart, and the icy water rushed in. Of the 79 people on board, only 6 initially survived the crash, 4 passengers and 2 crew members. The scene was one of absolute chaos. Wreckage and survivors were scattered among the ice floes in the freezing river, just a short distance from the shore and horrified onlookers. What happened next is a testament to the human spirit in the face of tragedy. The emergency response was immediate, but the conditions were treacherous. The ice was too thick for boats to easily break through, but too thin to support the weight of rescuers. A U.S. Park Police helicopter, Eagle 1, piloted by Don Usher and crewed by paramedic Gene Windsor, arrived on the scene. They began a series of incredibly risky rescue attempts. Windsor would lower a line to the survivors clinging to the plane's tail section. He managed to pull 2 survivors to safety. Then, the line was lowered to another survivor, Arland D. Williams Jr., but in an act of incredible selflessness, Williams repeatedly passed the line to others, first to Kelly Duncan, a flight attendant, and then to other passengers. He ensured everyone else was rescued before himself. By the time the helicopter returned for him, he was exhausted. He had been in the freezing water for over 20 minutes. As the helicopter lowered the line one last time, Williams slipped beneath the surface and drowned. He became known as the 6th passenger, a man who gave his life so that others could live. His heroism, along with that of an onlooker named Lenny Skutnik who jumped into the river to save a drowning woman, captured the nation's heart. In the end, only 5 people were pulled alive from the Potomac. The official investigation by the National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, concluded that the probable cause of the crash was pilot error. Specifically, the flight crew's failure to use the engine anti-system, their decision to take off with snow and ice on the wings, and their failure to abort the takeoff despite clear warnings of a problem. The crash of Air Florida Flight 90 led to significant changes in the aviation industry. Dicing procedures were overhauled. Airlines developed better cold weather operating protocols. Training was improved to emphasize better communication and decision-making in the cockpit. a concept known as crew resource management. The tragedy also highlighted the importance of pilots adhering strictly to checklists and not succumbing to get their itis. The pressure to complete a flight despite adverse conditions. The story of Flight 90 is a somber reminder of how a chain of seemingly small errors can lead to a catastrophic outcome. It's a story of failure, but also one of unimaginable bravery. The memory of the 78 people who lost their lives, and the heroism of those who tried to save them, serves as a permanent lesson for the world of aviation. A lesson written in ice and water, on a cold January day in the heart of a nation's capital. Thank you for watching. If you found this story compelling, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into historical events. Stay safe.